Being able to zone accurately has been one of my bugbears since the release of City Skylines 2, and with the arrival of the mod Platter, I think we may finally have the hero that we need. So we're going to give it a proper test as we design and build our new old town deep in the British countryside. If you're as pleased as I am to have a new and much better, in my honest opinion, way to zone, then please leave a like on the video and then grab a cup of tea. Sit back and relax as we dive into Kettlewick. So here we are overlooking Teachester, our original, as it were, old town in the middle of Kettlewick. But we are going to be building a new old town, if that makes sense, right over in the distance. You can see it over there, past our castle. Let's zoom on over. Yep, there we go, Brewstone Castle. And we started laying out this little road layout in the last episode. And we've got these old town zones that we can now use. And with a little bit of imagination, we can see that they're sort of British-like as well, with a hint of European, and I think we can make that work in a little area over here. But last time we tried to just sort of zone it in around the road, and you know, mostly it works. Mostly they fit in and they're fine, but I'm going to want to use the Platter Mod to really get the best out of these and the road layout that we have here. So the Platter Mod, will pop the icon on the screen so you know which mod you're looking for, made by Luca Dev Design. And here you go, this is what it looks like on PDX Mods. So it enables you to add platters to your zoning, which we'll have a look at in the game. But I just want to show you this down here. It is an alpha experimental warning, so back up your saves, and it can be safely removed by using the uninstall button in the mod settings. What if the mod breaks or there's a game update? I've asked that question. So like any other mod, if there's a game update, things can break and you have to wait, so that's just expected with using the mods. But also the plats that you place, so let's just show you one of these. Here we go. These are just items placed in the game. So those familiar grey boxes that we see when an asset's missing or something like that, they will replace these, and your buildings will stay if you have plot the growables, which I do have. So maybe add plot the growables as well. Whether things get changed or tweaked along the way, we shall see. But I'm happy to put it in the game and see how it goes. So for those that haven't seen the mod before, just very briefly. So I'm pressing Alt-P to bring up this menu here, or you can just open your zoning menu. And if we go over here, yeah, that's what your zoning menu will normally look like. And you can go there, or you can click the P down here. 3 different ways you can get in, and then you've got these different size platters. Now normally they are unzoned, that's what I'm looking for, and you can see we can place them freely. We've got snapping options, we'll go into those in a little bit more depth. We've got road setback, so you can see that's right up against the road. We can go to a maximum of 8 meters, which is fantastic if you're thinking of upgrading roads later, which is what we're going to plan ahead for in this new little old town that we're doing. You can change the widths. There we go. Let's put this back onto road snapping. Brilliant. So you can change the widths down here. You can change the depths. You get how it works. So one of the things also, if you look on the screen, is we have a shortcut. So pressing Control or holding Control and using my middle mouse wheel. There we go. We can do that. If I hold Alt, we can do that. Control and Alt at the same time. It does both. And also the Control and Shift moves it to and from the road, and we can see on the left hand side whether it's 0, 8 meters, whatever. So 8 meters is the furthest you can go, and a building will still see that it's connected to the road. 4 meters is actually quite good. So if you're going to take this lane here, so let's pop that plat down so it's unzoned, and then we can upgrade the road. So we've got our lane there, so if we just take a normal 2 width road, plop that in the middle, and there we go, we've still got the space to put it in. If it was 4 back from the road, then that would butt straight up against it. So you get the idea with that. So let's just pick of this, plop that back down there, and we can delete that. So the bonus of doing this is we can then fit things exactly as we like into this zone. Now, as you'll notice, this little dot here is the front door, and as we move over to the side, we also see it gets a thicker line on the right hand side as we hit up against Frostwood Lane here. That's because it recognizes that it's a corner plot that we want here. So I'm just going to move this back down to 0. There we go. I'm going to turn off Anarchy as well, because it will tell us if we're overlapping, which is quite handy, but I tend to turn that on and off depending on what I want to do. There we go. And then we could just place those down like that and fill this in. But what you can also do, which I like, is click up here. So this has been adjusted slightly. We've got some now, we've got a search box, which is fantastic. If you know the name of the zone you're looking for, we've got some categories and we can pick our asset packs. Now I know we're looking for Old Town. So there we go. EU mixed Old Town style apartment buildings. We're going to take those and it's pre-zoned to what we're looking for. So how large can we go? Well, now that we've got that zone picked, we can see if we go to the corner, it says no 3x4 buildings in the selected zone, so a smaller building may spawn on this parcel. But I think there's some larger buildings, so no 3x5. Let's hold those two keys down and we can do both at the same time. Maybe we need to go smaller. There we go. Look, 9 available in that size. So I'm going to get a corner one right up to there. Is the game paused? Okay, it wasn't paused, but that's zoned in. I'm going to get a corner one right up to there. And then I also want to get one in the middle here. Now, this is where I might just pop Anarchy on to help us out, but let's just get the size that we want. Yeah, at that width, we're going to struggle a bit. So let's pop Anarchy on. There we go. I'm also going to turn snapping off for everything. And I might just leave snapping to road on. There we go. So we can slide it backwards and forwards. And this is where I might have used Anarchy for these side ones as well. So we could have overlapped the road a little bit. So what I'm going to do is overlap them both. There we go. And then I'm going to use the Move It mod, which can also move these, which is good. So we're going to just ever so slightly move that one over. And we're going to just move that one over. There we go. And then when we unpause, they should zone in, although I didn't look at the text to see whether there is actually something that will fit in at that size. So let's delete it. There we go. Open Platter again. What does it say? No 2x4 buildings in this selected zone. Okay, excellent. So that was a deliberate mistake to show you that this information can really help us. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to decrease one of these. I quite like that corner one there. So I'm going to take... Oh, I see it's gone for a couple here to fill that in. Oh, which is quite nice. But I quite like that one. So we're going to take those ones out and we're going to pause the game so it stops zoning them in. And we're going to see what we can do. So what I think we're going to do is use Platter for this whole interior section here. Put all the little plats down and just see how that works. Because, of course, some of you will be going, well, I could just use the Find It mod, I could just use Plot the Growables, and I could just throw these buildings down like this and have it all set up exactly how I want it, which is fine. You could do that. It's another way of doing it, but I quite like you doing it this way, which I'm going to show you now. So because the snapping normally is just to one road, so the road you're facing, there is no, at the moment, snapping at the correct distance to the side. You can see here I've got a 4-meter road setback, which is what I want for space for upgrading later. So what I do is I'll place just anything on the side here. And then I've got something to sort of measure it up against. So roughly about there would be the correct distance. So I'm going to place one of those there. I'll do the same here just to give us a bit of a rough idea. We probably could go a little bit closer on that. And then we could just keep these at the same size all the way along. But when we get here, we can see it's a little bit bigger. So I'm going to widen that one. And I think that'll be okay. I don't mind a little bit of a gap because we know that as these are set back by 4, there is a little bit of movement. We can go back another 4 to take it to 8. So maybe with the Move It mod, we could just jiggle these around a bit. But that's what I'm going to do. I'm then going to just delete those two there like so. Didn't mean to close that menu. And then I'm just going to work my way around and do that around the rest. So we'll just see what happens. Okay, so we've got some interesting buildings that have spawned in here. Now, I would like to sort of change some of these things. There is a little bug, which I've passed on to the dev, that in some plat sizes like this is a 2x3. It only spawns, it doesn't force spawn a 2x3 building. So that's something he knows about. He's going to be tweaking that one. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the Move It mod. I've got the buildings on here. So I can just grab that building and we can shift that over there. And then I'm going to use the Picker mod, grab, oh yeah, let's put all of those on, grab the whole building, and then we can just pop another one in here next to that. There we go, and that fills that little gap in, and I'm liking that. I don't mind the odd little gap through the middle because we can put a little something inside, but that is not too bad at all. I like the way that's laid out. We're gonna have to do some work on the surfaces and things, but that's fine. So then what I might do then is take, let's just delete these ones here. So this time, instead of using the Platter mod, I'm going to do plot the globals and see what we can do. So obviously we've got some zoning disallowed on some of these that I did before. So let's do that. Let's do that. Get it all back. Come on. Okay, we need Anarchy on to do that one. Excellent. There we go. So yeah, let's do a little bit of plot the globals here instead. So I've just put here in Find It EU Old Town. I've got level 1 set in the additional filters, and there isn't a building called corner, but what you get is the left or the right. So if we grab this one here, and if I snap that to, okay, let's turn my snapping on. If I snap that to the road, you can see the corner part is on the left-hand side of it. And then if we scroll down a little bit further, we'll get a right. Well, this is a much larger one. So I'll snap to the bottom road and the corner is on the right-hand side of it. So what we're going to find here now is things are going to be harder to find that fit the gaps that we want. So I actually really like that building. So we're going to pop that one in. We are going to have a left-hand side one, but I want one that's a little bit bigger. So I'll tell you what, I'm just going to go through this and then we'll take a look at what we come up with. Okay, there we go. So that was just plopping, using Find It, and with snapping on up against the road. So then normally what you would do after this is you would have to go through and do a little bit of Anarchy to line things up. I mean, most things are okay. I would definitely sort of, I got that? Yeah, there we go. I'll definitely sort of shift that up to the corner, line this up a bit. And of course, I haven't done a setback on any of these, have I? I've just gone with how it is. This is quite good, but it overlaps there. So again, that corner might just need a little bit of work. We'll just move that over a bit. And it might be now that we think, well, we can add another one of those in. I'm going to turn off my snapping and just move that up a little bit. Hope I get it right. Yep. Okay, there we go. So that's another way of doing it. And again, I mean, your mileage may vary. You may prefer one way of doing it over the other way of doing it. What I was finding more difficult with doing it this way, just something to keep in mind, is once I'd placed the corners, which is where I tend to start, then I'm having to look at the width of the zoning that's left, and I can just adjust this up here. But of course, with the Platter Mods, then you just use the keys, don't you? When you zone and you like hold Alt. Let's go over there. There we go for the width. You hold Control for the depth, and you can sort of do it that way. And then you can see what is going to appear once the zoning kicks in. This way, of course, you could take a look at the building before you place it. So you've got that bonus as well. So there we go. Right, so I think what I'm going to do now is I might just use a mixture of plopping and platting, if that's the right word. And I'm going to fill up these 4 up here. So I'll tell you what we're going to do is I'm going to do this section here with plopping, and then we'll do the other side with platting, and we do a little bit of a comparison. Oh, I have to say, I'm absolutely loving these buildings. I didn't realise how good they were until I've started doing this. So what I'm finding with like little weird corners like this, so I put left or right in, it depends. You can sort of line them up sometimes and think, oh, that one's going to be really good. That one's going to be too big. Like that one, you think that's going to be too far away from the corner. So something a little bit smaller, maybe a 3x3. And then I would turn the snapping off and get that right in there. And you know the surface is going to fill that gap. So even on weirdly shaped little lots like this, if you were zoning it, you've probably got no, you haven't got a chance. But plopping or platting, are we going to call it that now? That would work really well. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take out that. There we go. And now I want to just see what widths we've got here. So yeah, this is where it can also be a bit of a problem. So I'm going to put all my snapping on. I'm going to go for the widest, which is a 4. That's going to be far too big. Something a little bit lower. I don't want a left or a right. Yeah, let's go for 3. Just sort of looking at the height of other things nearby. So that isn't going to go exactly where I want it. So then I've got to turn the the snapping off. And yeah, this is where it all becomes a little bit more slower. And I'm thinking a 2 could fit in there. Has it changed it? Yeah, maybe with a little bit of squeezing and maneuvering, because I know I've got some space there. So we just grab this, move it down, wiggle it around. Maybe. I don't think that one's going to like it. Okay, we'll get rid of that. It's where it overlaps at the corner here, where you've got the walk-in that's going through. So if we go 1 wide, again, I put the snapping on. Yeah, it's not going to do it the way I want it to do. So we probably could fit a couple of those in because they're not as deep. There we go. And then we'll just finish off this section here. So again, let's try a 3. So something like a 3x2. Put the snapping back on. Yep. And then maybe a 2 wide if we're lucky. We'll go in there, and again, a little bit of maneuvering. There we go. We can get that lined up, or we can get that lined up. I'm not going to do all the maneuvering now. I'm just going to show you what we got. Oh, we've got one little space here. Let's do this one. So what size is that? So I reckon we could get away with a 3 wide there. 3x2. That is a nice looking building. I'm going to turn off the snapping and just sort of plop that in the middle, and we'll go what we got. So this is all the plopping without any moving. Apart from the little bit I just did then. And do you know what? For most people, that would just be absolutely fine. And the little inconsistencies where the buildings overlap or the corners hit each other or things like that, that is just how these sort of buildings look. There's some places you can go to, and, you know, the walls can be leaning out. They can just look, yeah, really bad. But some of the, you know, in real life I'm talking about. But yeah, this is looking really good. The only little thing where I really came up to a problem is this big curve here. So I've just plopped these down as they've gone in. I haven't sort of turned off snapping or anything like that. And what I've tried to do is I've put like a left and a right piece on each side of this. And then I would come back and do a little bit of, is it doing an autosave? I think it is. We'll have a quick sip of tea. Yeah, so I would then grab this building and just sort of line this up, and you might need to fiddle with some others to get it to sort of line up correctly. But that was, if I just move those back a bit, come on, and then just do that one back to how it was, and we just got a little bit more room to get that lined up and looking like it should be there. And like the same on this one here. I think if we're going to get that right up to the front, then the whole thing just needs to be adjusted a bit. But there we go. Yeah, we'll sort of go something like that. Anywhere you can fiddle to your heart's content with things like that. And we've made this little corner piece out of 3 pieces, which I quite like. Fits in very well. And then we've got a bit of a gap here. You know, we can do surfaces, we can do parks, we could do all sorts of things. So that was that side. That was plop the growables and find it. I'm going to plat this side all the way down here. I'm going to show you a quick time lapse of doing one of them, and then we'll just do the rest off camera and we'll see what we get. Okay, so I've got to a point with Platter where I'm thinking at the minute there's a few things in it which I'm going to pass over to the developer who's working super hard to get this working as we want it. But yeah, there's a few things that I'm just not quite gelling with me. One of them is, like you can see, there's just, I mean, I could turn off snapping and I could line all these things up. I actually found that easier when I was plopping, like without any move it. You can see how easily I've got things to fit together and look like that's it. I could just literally leave it like that because I could actually see what I was placing down. In this instant, of course, you don't see it until you then start the game and let it zone in, and quite often it just doesn't fit right. And so even though that the plat was in the right place, it doesn't fit right. And this thing where it doesn't fill in the entire grid means I'm overlapping grids to try and get ones to fit in. So of course then I've got to use the Picker mod to fill in the other gaps. Let's turn on the snapping. No, not that one, this one. So then I could do that. That one's a bit too close, it's going to overlap, but you get the idea. The other thing is, just in case the modder is watching this, so let's say I want to fill in this sort of gap over here. So let's go to the mod, pick a 2x4, and I'm going, okay, I want all of my snapping things on, but actually, no, it's not working for me, so I want to turn some of these off. So I just tend to go for the road one. But actually, in this case, I might not want to do it because I want to get it a little bit closer on the left. So I'll go, okay, I'll turn off the road, but because now I'm going back, quite often it'll switch around and not be facing the way I want it to. That was probably not the best example there, because it actually did it correctly for you. But yeah, here we go. So I want to get a bit closer on the left, so I'll turn that off, come back, and it's moved it. So I've suggested having this be the same snapping on and off key that you use for, say, your roads here. So I've got one that turns those all on and off, as you can see, and if that worked for the snapping here, that would help a lot as well. So I think in this case, I haven't really enjoyed using it as much as just plopping things in, but I can see where it would be great. So for instance, let's just take like this long road down here. I bet if we look at the zoning on here, yeah, it's a little bit all over the place, and I'd have to go in there, and if I wanted individual buildings, I'd have to sort of go like that, get that one to zone like that, get that one to zone like that, get that one to zone. Then this would be a problem because that wouldn't work. And then once they're in, then I'd have to go back and do that and do that and do that. You know how it works, and that would all be all over the place. But what you could do with Platter is, if we just dezone all of that, so let's open that up, Alt P. We'll go by that size, so that's fine. Yeah. Oh, no fronting 2x4 buildings. What size was it? There we go. That's the one we wanted. So we can use, I've got advanced line tool. The tool mode that comes with the game doesn't let you get them any closer than 24 meters. So if that works for you, that's fine. If it doesn't, get the advanced line tool. And then I've just rotated these 180 degrees so they're facing the way I want. And I've gone for space in a fixed length. So it's like fence mode, I call it. So we can literally place these all along here. Have I got this in curve mode? Yeah. So if we sort of go down there and then up, I mean, there'll be a bit of a, there we go, something like that. So they're all now facing the front, which is great. We'll unpause that. They'll all line up nicely once they've all zoned in. And to me, that is just fantastic. I love that much, much better. And I think at the minute, that is the use case that I would be going for. So when zoning is like this, all hawky-balky on the corner. In vanilla, you wouldn't be able to zone something facing this side of the road, but with plats, yeah, as we've seen, we can get that going all the way along. This is actually a straight road, isn't it? So if we put that back to, what I would like is this to work with right click rotate, which is what I want, which we don't have in this at the minute. So I think I'm going to mention that to the mod maker, but we just sort of need to do this manually like so. There we go. Excellent. I'm going to start from this end. So I'm thinking I'm going to want a corner block, and I'm going to go all the way along there, and there we go. They all pop in. Absolutely brilliant. So that for me is where this is going to be used. I love it. I absolutely love it. So I think we're going to go with filling the rest of this inner circle in here. We might even get some of the branches done, but I don't want to go too far with these ones. I'm sort of expecting like this central section here to be the really old town, the cobbledy streets that you'd wander around and all that sort of thing and have these buildings. But then as it does get out to these ones, maybe some of them are like this, you know, side to side, all these sort of buildings. But then we start getting some newer ones here and there as well. We can work on that as we go along. So yeah, let's fill the rest of this in. Just before I do that, what we've also got to keep in mind, this isn't connected to outside the city at all. So nobody can get in here. I'd be surprised if anybody lives in here. Let's just put a zone over the top. And don't forget, I want some cool names for this place. That fits in. I mean, a lot of the other names, if you're new here, we've gone for sort of old or British sort of chocolate related, dessert related refreshers. Muller's, Cupton Bluff was good. These I've never changed. We will get to doing those at some point. I need to go through. French Fancy, all sorts. Barney McBrew Memorial. Ah, poor Barney McBrew. Hobnob Heights, you get the idea. So let me know about that. But yeah, how many people are living in here? 0, which is, yeah, what we thought would happen. Oh man, that's going to be fun when we unpause that. Okay, right. And get that connected up. Let's fill these things up. Okay, we're nearly there. I've pretty much got everything as I want it. There's a couple of sections which still have some platters in over here, which I was thinking between move it and other things, I might just redo a couple of them. But I just wanted to show you something. If you wanted to remove all the platters that are in your game, and this is something you might want to do if you were thinking you were going to just remove the mod later on and save having all those grey boxes. If we actually go to the Platter Mod, here we go, there's delete all parcels. And as it says, top right, removes all parcels from the map permanently. buildings that are not on a vanilla zone will despawn unless you have a mod that prevents that. We've got plop the growables. So I'm going to click that. Yeah, and we're going to just see what it does. I'm assuming it's going to take a few seconds. It seems to have done it already. Let's just come out of that. So if we go into bulldoze mode, there we go. We can see, yeah, these are definitely all platter ones and these are all platter ones. But if we unpause, the buildings are staying because we have plop the growables. Excellent. I have to say, I really like these old town buildings. I think they look fantastic. And I just like the way that some of them, even if they're not corner buildings, have got like details on the end, like that blue sort of wooden ribbing effect that's going on there. They just look really, really cool, and little alleyways that go through. So it's okay to have some gaps here and there. These sort of things aren't meant to be perfect. You know, these windows facing those, that'd be a little alleyway that you could walk through. Man, there is going to be so much detail that we're going to put into this thing. Oh man, we're going to hook this up. It's just going to go nuts. The traffic. I'm just wondering whether we could do something before we do that. So we've got almost 3,000 household spaces here and 148 jobs. What would be really helpful is a subway in the middle here. And I made a little mistake in my last episode with the subway. Let's come over here where we're having a bit of a crime wave. I'm just not bothered about that today. If we go down like this, we'll see that right in here in Butler End, where we've got the biggest amount of population in one little area, we didn't hook up our subway there. We've got that one, and then there was one over by somewhere nearby. That was literally across the river here, just up from Mulberry Crest. Again, a ton of people living in here with all these blocks of flats and everything, and we forgot to hook this one up as well. So I'm just gonna quickly see what's the best way to hook that up. So we've done a loop. I know it's really hard to see in this game when you're underground, but we've got a loop going around clockwise and anti-clockwise, not that far, up to here, and then they sort of come out in a couple of places to hit some hot spots where we've got a subway. I'm just wondering whether these could just be separate lines that maybe come out from our main hub down here, and they just go straight up there, because this is where the trains, the buses, everything all comes into there. I think that might be a good idea. Let me just do that bit off camera, because to be honest, you're not going to be able to see it anyway. Okay, just to show you what I've done. So it comes from the Mulberry Crest area, goes through Butler End, then it hooks back into here, goes all the way into the main hub, and then goes back again. So that one just goes backwards and forwards. And I think that will be okay. If we jump into here, so we've got 3 lines now. There we go. So that's subway line 3. So I'm going to call that Butler End. No, not Butler End. Where is that actually going to? Teesside. I think that'll be the best name for that. Teesside. 4 stops. How many trains are we going to get on there? Yeah, we're going to struggle with the amount of trains that we've got, aren't we? So I'm going to drop that down to 3. And then I'm going to drop this one down to 3. And then that should free up a couple for this one. So we drop that to 2. There we go. It's done it automatically. Oh, yeah, we don't want this one. I want that one, the basic one. Yep, very good. So hopefully that will work okay and we'll have no problems. We've got plenty available here. How many do we actually have available here? 9. So we could have a third one possibly on there. What is going on with the crime over here? It's like, good grief, everybody. Chill, please. Let's have a look at our police. So arrested criminals 39, capacity 250 of a jail. Prison, sentence 36, capacity 0. We don't have a prison, which is like a long-term jail. Thank you for pointing that out to me in a previous episode. So maybe let's just have a look in here and we'll go to UK. That's what I'm looking for. And we've got 1 UK police station. Do the UK police stations have a jail upgrade? Let's come out of that view and try that again so I can actually click on things before we spend all the money. I don't think they do. What's that? Cell extension, jail capacity. Jail. No, I want prison, don't I? No, it doesn't. Okay, well, let's just have a look in here then. So UK pack, and we've got police headquarters, intelligence, prisons. We haven't unlocked, but there is a prison. Ah, okay. Well, that could be good. Not for the prisoners, but good for us. Let's unlock. Let's unlock that node is what I was trying to say. What am I even looking for here? Here we go. Prisons. Excellent. There we go. And we got a prison. Very good. So -5 crime rate within 800 meters, 10 vans, jail capacity 500. That is a darn large building. Where are we going to put that? So we've got this piece of land here, which I'm not sure is going to be very good for housing or anything like that, but I'm pretty sure the prison will be fine. So what I'm going to do is just put it up against there and then move it back to like here. And then we can add a road onto there. Boom, boom, boom. There we go. So if we sort of go across the front, yeah, and then we'll take one of these and we'll just have that. Do you know what will be better is actually to bring that into the roundabout. So we just sort of go, oh, I meant to do a curvy-worvy thing. It didn't do the curvy-worvy thing. There we go. 180 degrees, that's what I was looking for. Yeah, we just go into there. That should be fine. We've got the metro running underneath. I mean, I'm hoping no one's going to be sort of... Is there like no fencing around here? Oh, that's probably visitors. Where's the yard? Oh, here's the yard. Okay, there's fencing around the yard. That's good. There's all the working out. There's all the playing of the games. I was thinking, this is the yard. It looks lovely. Then you run across the road, jump in the tunnel, get on the metro. I mean, the possibility is still there, but we'll see how it goes. But that was an auto-save. There we go. We've got plenty of wings and plenty of spaces. That is an interesting looking prison building. So we'll see what happens there once that's been running a bit. Upgrade prison wing so we can fit another 50 jails, and prison library and rec centre increases prisoners' well-being, prepares them for life on the outside. I think that is an excellent idea. So that's going to add another wing on the back. We shall do that. Excellent. There we go. All the vans heading out to deal with this problem. So hopefully this will all get taken care of once they're all picked up and not, redoing crime again. Right, okay. So the time has come. I think we need to sort of hook this in. I'm just wondering what's going to be the best way to do it. This road comes down here. I mean, it is going to be traffic nightmare. They're all going to come off of here. They're all going to come down there. This is going to be nuts. Do I own these squares? I own none of these squares. Let's own some squares because we need to do some work on the road. Where is the bit where they're coming in? So, of course, it's over 2 squares. So we'll get both of them because we're making money like there's no tomorrow. That is definitely going to become a roundabout on there with a nice tree. And this is going to be upgraded to 3-lane, 4-lane. Is there not an asymmetrical 3-lane 2-way? It allows traffic in both directions. Yeah, that's the one I want. Just didn't say the word asymmetrical in it. Yeah, like that. So we'll add, which way should we do it? Like that. Yeah, very good. We'll have it going into there as well. Very good. And we'll have it going into there as well. Okay, sorry, Laurie, for switching that all around while you're thinking what you're doing. So that's good. Because this is only like a B road going through the country, so that's okay. And then when it hits up here, yeah, I'm just thinking what's going to be the best way to do it. I mean, we could literally bring this road in and it's just going to hit one of these and all come in and just all hell's going to break loose when these people move in. I do feel like it's there. Look, just chill. There is going to be traffic like you've never seen traffic before. We could fit a large cul-de-sac there. I like the cul-de-sacs because, is that cul-de-sac with trees and bushes? So they'll have to go around it. Or do we just go for a normal roundabout and be doing it properly? We be doing it properly, we be. Yeah, we'll do that. And then this here, let's pick a picker. I've got my picker key working again. Oh, it's good. I'm going to upgrade. I've got my snapping tools on. Yeah, we're going to upgrade that bit there. And then it's going to slow down a bit. And that's going to slow down into one of these to hit the roundabout. Let's get me... Oh, really? Thank you. Get me snapping tools on this way. Yeah. And then this bit up here, I shall pick a picker once again. We're going to delete all of this. Thank you. And then that, what did I pick a tree or something? We're going to have this one. No, it's this one here. And we're going to go like that, and then like that. There we go. Now people can come in. And I'm just wondering now I've done that, whether we could give them access into other places as well. That might be a good idea. So what I'm going to do is just pick some random thing. No, alley. Thank you. Is we're going to do this sort of coming through here. And that's going to go round. So this actually, I'm going to delete some of these buildings. Don't worry. This might become a sort of bypassy thing. And it's going to finish there. So that's not really going to help. But yeah, that's what we're going to do. We are going to upgrade this one. As in it's like a bit of a ring road like this. So it can help. Maybe. We shall see. And then, of course, people living here are going to hate that. But we're going to remove those in a minute. Look at that. One slip. And it was all it took. And I'm just thinking, with that coming round here, could we give them another sort of access at the back somewhere with a similar roundabout? Does that... it would need a little bit of... Yeah, do you know what? I don't want a roundabout there. Let's put it somewhere else where there's a bit more space. Maybe there. Go for a smaller one. Yeah, something like that. And then we could do the same here. Pick of that. Upgrade this. Actually, it was that one. Come on. And just go into it. Let's do it that way a bit. Yeah, just try something like that. That'll be fine. And then I'm sorry, but you're out. You're out. And we'll worry about that bit later because that was just for showing off the platter tool. And unpause. And then see what happens. I'm still thinking that could do with being a big roundabout just to keep things moving, which is down here, of course. I do like that one. Because like you got that feeling of little roundabout, middle of Old Town. This is like where the bypass is, and it's a much bigger roundabout. We might upgrade those roads going round. But okay, I'm interested just to see how the traffic goes with everybody coming in. Let me just run it for a bit. I'll come back and show you in a sec. So one thing I do absolutely know that here in what is currently called Chestnut Peak, but is going to be named by you lovely people, is we have no schools, healthcare, police, anything like that at all. We've literally got houses and shopping. That's all we've got. And my brain went to sorting out the subway because I was thinking I would add a subway connection here. But you know what? The traffic isn't as bad as I thought it would be. I'm spotting this not quite lining up here. It's making me twitch. We'll sort that another time. It's not as bad as I thought it would be. I mean, you're going to have a lot of people moving in and some of the junctions down there. Look, you can see there's a little bit of traffic down here, but I don't even think we own that tile. So it's like, whatever, bruv. You know, you work your way through it. I literally don't own those tiles where the traffic is. Great, that's good. Or do I own those tiles? It's not the ones around it. Hang on, I need to check. No, oh, we do own those tiles. Darn it, that means I've got to fix the traffic. What are you all doing down here? Oh, come on, it ain't that bad. It isn't that bad, really, is it? No, it isn't. We're just going to let people move in and ignore all the traffic around the place. But I'm liking this. What have we got in here? 5,000 residents, average income. It's not doing too bad. Let us actually just slow things down a minute and just see if we can pop in some schools and things. I mean, the UK ones, I don't think are going to go so well with this sort of design. Just wondering whether there's any sort of European style ones that might go a little bit better. I don't know. The French elementary school seems to sort of stand out to me, but that just looks too French. Nothing against the French, just the, you know, the design of the building. I mean, this one here, this German one, actually, I think would go really well. If we can find a corner that is pretty much a right angle like here, this I think will fit really well. So we go like that, and that is not a bad use of that space. I mean, that is, again, squint, you know, imagine it's like an older building, not so German looking. That is absolutely great. That's an elementary school. Let's try and fill at least some of their needs. High schools, again, I mean, the E one's always, I like that, but not for this one. Well, let's go for the German one again. I don't really want to go for the huge UK secondary school. I mean, we could have this as a bit of a campus. I mean, this is like a nice spot, isn't it? Or should we go somewhere else? Let's go somewhere else and give people the benefit of all the bonuses and things. That could literally go right in the middle there. Yeah, let's keep that one there. I mean, that is going to fill up. I don't know how quick that's going to fill up. Extension wing, yes. And gym extension, yes. How is this doing? What's that going to give us here? Extension wing we'll wait for. Gym, yes. We'll get the bonuses for those. They fit really well. Healthcare. I'm thinking this modern clinic, because that would be something you would have to build afterwards to add on to an area like this. So we could go for, all the traffic's getting bad over there. We could just go for, around the back of the school here, for a couple of these services. So a little bit out of where the main town is, but close enough that they can help. I don't think we need to go for a hospital. Healthcare, for some reason, we've got another tab for that. Death care we're going to need as well. I think just because of the style, the shape and the colours, the French one just here. You know, we'll forget that's a crematorium by the school. Just pretend it's another building that fits in with that. All will be good. Trash is going to be a big problem. I'm not going to worry too much about that. Fire. Oh, there is this one here, which I really like, which I think it'll fit in here perfectly. Or we've got that one, which is a similar style to those. So that's the fire station. Let's go for the firehouse. Yeah, and I think if we move this over, let's do it like that. Move that up over to there. Yep, that'll be good. And this will just fit in there absolutely perfectly. And I think that looks okay. And then finally the police. I think just a small, tiny, I mean, the UK police station. Yeah, we're going to go for that, which will fit in here, I think, just there. Yeah, so that'll go with the services that we've got there. I mean, that's the basics. I think that should be okay. Parking is going to be horrendous in here when people are moving in. They're all parking on this bypass road that goes out the way. But I tell you what we're going to do is this here is going to have future detailing episodes because I did so much work is going to end up going into this. I think that's going to be our plan. So my final thoughts on the Platter Mod, I'm really looking forward to seeing how it progresses. It's a great idea. I've passed on my findings from recording this video onto Luca, who is working hard to bug fix and improve the mod. But I have to say, for an alpha mod, and I think it's Luca's first mod as well, it is excellent. And I'll be 100% keeping a really close eye on it and adding it to my tool chest a little bit later down the line. Don't miss out on all the decorating and detailing that this new village is going to be getting very soon. And watch out for a very special video coming, I think, just before the new year or maybe slightly into the next year. But for 2025, what a fantastically interesting journey it's been, particularly for City Skylines 2. I'm very excited to see what 2026 will bring, not just for the game, but for our channel here as well. I'd love for you to continue enjoying the journey with me. 1 million subs, 2026 maybe, who knows? I don't know, we'll see. But if you enjoyed this video, a thumbs up, always appreciated. Thank you. Subscribe as well if you haven't done so already. And a massive thank you to all the patrons. You can see them scrolling up the screen right now, especially to my latest 3 new patrons, Will, Jack, and Michael Bacon. So I hope you all have a fantastic day, and I'll see you all next year for some more Kettlewick.